Following the murder of a grade 11 learner at the Qalabotjha Secondary School in Vlakfontein, the issue of school safety has become prominent again. We are learning that the alleged perpetrator, a 21-year-old fellow learner, might have been motivated by alleged gang loyalty. Gauteng Education reassuring parents and students alike that schools are safe and will embark on a new program involving all stakeholders to devise a practical intervention to mitigate school violence. To discuss this, I'm joined by Gauteng MEC Chiloane. Good evening, MEC, and welcome to Full View. Have you learnt anything new about the attack and its motivation that you can share with our viewers?
Thank you so much. Good evening to you, good evening to your viewers. So far, we know that the alleged perpetrator has been arrested, and obviously the police are looking for witnesses as well to come forward so that they can ensure that they strengthen their case.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the alleged perpetrator?
So far, it's believed that it's from a rival gangs. There's an issue of gangsterism in the area, and obviously these are emanating from externally in the community. So that perpetrator as well is believed that he is from a rival gang, and to a large extent a rival school as well. So there are two schools that are a bit of a problem in that area. So it's what I know so far, and is also of age in terms of schooling. It's about 21-year-old, as far as I understand.
MEC, just to understand you, so you're saying that the alleged perpetrator is from a different school. Are you able to tell us which school that is? And when you use the term rival gang, it kind of creates the impression that the victim or the deceased was also part of a gang. Is that true?
No. Actually, yesterday I visited the family to get a sense as to what do they know, and obviously to provide comfort and support as a department. And the parents were unequivocal that their child was not part of this gangsterism, the deceased. So, but the issue is not necessarily the schooling. The schools that are it's the community. There are issues of gangsterism. If you know the area, Vlakfontein is the same area of Fine Town, where there's been a big issue of crime in the area. As you know, in the past few days, there's been a shooting incident, and there's been a couple of shooting incidents. So the area itself is really riddled with a lot of crime, and our children find themselves embroiled in some of these gangsters and crime. So that is in the main the big issue. So, but for now, why I don't want to develop much around the perpetrator is that obviously we need to give the police a space so that they are able to conduct their own investigation, affirm and confirm all the information at our disposal. But what we want is obviously the perpetrator to really be taken to task for this, because we really need to go to a point where we set an example. That learners should be protected at all times, and they should also. So if you do such crimes, learners should understand that they will get to a point where they actually pay for those particular crimes.
MEC, do you believe that this is a healthy classroom culture? Older students, some who are adults, just like the accused, at school with younger students?
Unfortunately, we have a law that we must abide to. There's only a certain age where a child can no longer be allowed at a normal schooling. They'll have to go to adult school. But these ones were still within that age bracket. So there are many really circumstances that need to be looked at before we take that decision. However, in this regard, they were of age where they are allowed to be in class. And in terms of culture, Of course, it's a bit of a problem when you have older students, in class with the younger ones, because obviously it also brings about bullying. It also brings about grooming into certain, irresponsible conduct. So there's a lot that really it can be introduced because of that.
So what is the cutoff age, MEC?
The cutoff age is 23. Then the child will not be allowed in the schooling system anymore.
Again, as you've alluded to, this does create some challenges and can be problematic for, people at that level of maturity. One assumes, of course, the older you are, the more mature you are. It may not always be the case. But having said that, it creates an environment for more trouble, one imagines, than a schooling system is capacitated to deal with.
Yes, no, correct, correct. That's why we obviously would prefer that all our learners really finish their matriculation at the particular age, 18, 19 max, and that at least brings it's a bit better. But if because of now you have learners who are quite older and at in lower grades, that's where the problem is. And in some instances, such as you have the issue we're talking about now, it's those signs. But there are circumstances that really lead to learners being older in lower grades, and we have to look at them holistically. Without really our responsibility as a department is to ensure that we within the ambit of law we get our learners through the system properly and on time. The throughput must always be high. So that is our target. Unfortunately, there are incidences, situations like this where some learners are old. But generally in Gauteng, most of the learners are of correct age as they progress and grades.
Just a final word, MEC, on the stakeholder engagement, process or initiative that's already, I understand, been embarked upon in that area to resolve and, get to a place of stability between, the gang activity, the right of children to go to school and have an education, and the overall safety of that community. What can you tell us on that score?
Yes, we obviously yesterday we also met some of the community leaders, the local NGOs, the councillor, and amongst other things, the councillor obviously has got his hand on the pulse. Is that there needs to be a much more closer movement towards the school, because I did emphasize to those leadership that look, a school is an entity of the community, and the community needs to be at the center of its life and existence. They need to protect it. They need to ensure that it's safe, it's not vandalized. They need to ensure that there's proper teaching and learning. They need to ensure that there's discipline. So what we are looking to have is to have that discussion of a safety summit that amongst the things that I spoke about when I came into office. The summit will be sitting at the beginning of next month. And in that summit will be a broad engagement. We'll be looking at everyone, critical stakeholders, and those who have an interest in the safety of schools will form part to come up with a pragmatic solution where we really need to lobby so that we can lobby. We do have what we call QLTC, quality learning and teaching, but now we're going to a level of a more greater emphasis where we have, steps that can be introduced or should be introduced to ensure that those partners in the QLTC are able to practically get involved. Not this thing of sometimes we come and then we sign pledges and then that's it, we disappear. This time it needs to be practical. It needs to say, as a member of the community around the school, these are my responsibility. This is what I can do to assist the school. This is what I can't do. Yeah.
Going to leave it there, MEC. And as you say, this time it's about beyond paying lip service. We'll be watching developments in that community quite closely to see if that indeed changes that level of engagement and commitment to the community in resolving big issues like gangsterism and violence. Gauteng Chiloane is the Gauteng Education MEC.